Good afternoon, all of you. We have Miss Zufishan Haque, the 34th ranking candidate who cleared the civil services exam this year with us. Please give her a hand and we will all welcome her. Her optional subject was anthropology and she was already in the Indian Revenue Service, Customs and Central Excise. And in her third attempt, she has made it into the IAS proper. She was our general studies regular student in 2019-20 and she has done well this year in all the paper, general studies, optional and interview, and she was expecting a good result. Then we requested her to come and share her experience of having prepared for this exam with you all. And please listen to her. She will just speak for about half an hour about her own experience. Thereafter, you can take your questions. All the best.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zufishan Haque. I have secured a rank of All India 34 this year. And last year, I had secured a rank of 193. So, this is the basic information. And apart from that, in the year 2019 to 20, I was a GS foundational course student at Vajiram, and I also took my optional, that is anthropology, from Vajiram. So my first attempt was 2020, in which I did not clear my prelims. Then in the year 2021, I went till the stage of interview, and 2022 attempt, as I said, I got rank 193, and then this attempt I got an All India rank of 34. So that's a very brief intro about me. So everybody generally wants to know what did you do and what not you did. So I'll just give a brief idea about what I did, and that could be different from what others are doing. And like it is said, there's no one method for it. Everyone has a different style of approaching the exam. But one thing that we constantly hear from everyone is that you need to put in all your effort and you need to be very sincere with your effort. And what I always say is that as a student, we all know what is our level of preparation. We might say to our parents, we might say to our friends, I did not attempt this answer, I did not do this question. But if you are a sincere student, you always know that what level of preparation you have done, you can evaluate yourself. And that is very important, that you know how much is your level of preparation so that you can improve further. So this is the one basic advice I would like to say. Then starting with the three aspects of the exam: prelims, mains, interview. So for prelims, what can be done? Like many of them have mentioned, you need to solve previous year questions. When I say previous year questions and you are constantly practicing previous year questions, your mind will be able to see a clear pattern, that how am I going to approach the next question, how much time do I take for a question. If I marked A and the answer was B, what made me mark the answer as A and not B? So you'll be able to analyze yourself. So I think you should be practicing previous year questions a lot. And the next thing that I did, which I would say is a bit different, like everyone will come up and say you need to read the basic books, CBSE books, and you need to follow your notes, which is very common. So something different that I would say is I would read newspaper every day. So I started my preparation in the year August 2019. I was in the late batch, August 28th or something. I must have started reading newspaper sincerely, like every page, around 28th of August. And till this year, except for few days, like just now because of my training, I had to miss few days reading newspaper. Someday when I was very sick, I may have not read. But I have read newspaper every day from 28th of August till like my this year's interview, barring maybe a few months, just before the exam or when I was not feeling a bit well. But that is how sincerely I have been following newspaper. So what has happened, because I have been following newspaper so sincerely, is that I know that what topics are important, and because I'm following it every day, it's kind of my mind is revising all those topics regularly. So in the newspaper also, what I would do is I would read a topic, I would make my own notes. I had a copy, I divided it into sections, each topic, economy, polity and everything. Today, if I read something about a new bill which is being passed, I'll write about the points and what was the shortcoming in the previous act that was there. After a few days, if the amendment is passed, Then again, I'll write it down that, okay, this amendment has been passed and these have been suggested and these provisions have not been included. So that becomes like my recommendation for the next time. So in that way, I have a very sequentially nicely prepared notes. This helps me both in my prelims as well as my mains. For prelims in the form of pointers if some question comes up, and in the mains I can use it for way forward or anything, suggestions, etc. So I had prepared this very properly. And for science and technology also, in the Hindu we have it on Sunday, or in the explained column of Indian Express, whatever important topics are there, I would just mention science and technology and I would prepare all notes. And because of this, like a lot of people will come up and ask, like, which book have you read for environment, what have you read for science and technology? I've not read any other book. Whatever notes I got from Vajiram and Ravi coaching, that's it for science and technology environment. And apart from that, these notes that I've prepared from the newspaper. And sometimes if there are certain topics in the syllabus which are mentioned, I would just Google it directly. Like if there is something related to environment UPSC, recent meetings taking place, something like that, I would just Google it. I would make in my own notes. I have not referred to any other book because this topic is too vast and it's difficult to cover from any one particular book. And the other thing that I would like to share is this is basically to say that you need to stick to one process. Like when I joined this coaching in 2019, my idea was in the morning I would mostly do newspaper because we don't get a lot of time. I had 2 classes, and then I had 2 classes of anthropology as well as GS, so we'd get very less time. So in the morning I would do newspaper. I would take a lot of time for my reading newspaper because I'm making my notes simultaneously. So my approach was I used to read the Hindu, so I read the Hindu, then the explained page from Indian Express. After that, I would go and log in into PIB. You know, that is not something which is important, but just to say that how I prepared. So I would just see in PIB what all are the important topics coming, just 5 to 10 minutes quick scan. Okay, this is there. Most of the things will already be there in the newspaper, either today or tomorrow. But just to get an idea, I would just check because sometimes there would be like a new bill is coming out or a new amendment is there or some survey is there. So I just click on it, read it very quickly. Not like I'm investing an hour or so, just 5-10 minutes. Okay, if there's something new that I may have missed. After that, what I would do is in this Vajiram app, every day they would upload 10 questions. So I would do that 10 questions every day. Then I would see how much I'm scoring, and then there may be some topics which we miss because we are not reading newspaper or something we must have overlooked. So if I was missing something, I would again I would take those points and I would again write it in my copy, this newspaper one copy which I was maintaining. So now what has happened because of this is I've read newspaper, I've just done a quick scan of PIB, and then I've seen my Vajiram app say this notes. So it's like I've revised it multiple times, and even while preparing in my notes, if I don't understand a topic, I'm again Googling it. Like if there is a recent amendment, like I said, and I did not have an idea about it, I have just Googled and I've read about it. So it's like multiple times I've revised it in the morning, the same thing. So that time it did feel that it's taking me a lot of time compared to others, because when I would talk to my friends, they would be like, I finished the newspaper in 40-45 minutes and I'm taking 2 to 3 hours sometimes in the morning, especially in the initial days. But because of this, what I realized over the time is, before my prelims of any year, I have never referred to any monthly magazine. Till date, I have never picked up any monthly magazine which we have this compilation of any institute, any coaching. And sometimes before the prelims, because we have so much to revise, I have not even revised my newspaper notes properly. But the point is, since I have invested so much time in the beginning, it's already there somewhere in the mind. So if there's any question which is coming up, somehow I'm able to correctly mark the answer. So that's how this has helped me, this following the newspaper and making my own notes. So this is what I did for prelims. And the other thing that I did was, I also gave a lot of test series, especially in the first year. Later on, like I got an idea, but firstly, when I was preparing in the first 2 years, I used to pick up this test series for prelims of various different institutes, and I would just give them just to get a practice, how quickly am I doing and what am I doing. And in that also, in a process, if there are certain new current affairs questions, that gets covered. So I'm focusing more on current affairs because for static, most of us know what we have to prepare, because it's the same thing. You have your institute notes, you go through it, and then apart from that, CBSE standard books. So that's like something which we all already know. So I think, and also I think what is being taught in the institute and what you are referring for CBSE standard books, I think that is more than sufficient. You don't need to go and collect data from multiple sources, because at the end you will never be able to revise it. It's better to stick to one particular notes and revise it like I was mentioning, for ethics subject, I have not referred to any other book. I have Brijendra sir would be teaching over here that time, so I would see his notes and he would give some extra links and all, like refer to ARC note or something. I would refer to all those. I would make everything notes and all. But apart from that, I did not go to any other standard textbook, because the point is, when you are giving this exam, you'll realize you'll fall short of time. So it's better to keep revising the same thing again and again than going to any other book. In my last attempt, that is this year, because I wanted to score like a notch higher, I had to do a little bit more value addition. So this year I did search on internet, I referred to other topper copies, and then I saw what more quote etc. I can add, what more case examples and all etc. I could add. But all this will come only once you have a very solid framework with you. You should be able to attempt all questions which are coming in the exam. Only when you are able to do that, now if you want to score a bit more, then you can go to other extra sources. But it's very important that first a basic groundwork is there with you. So this is one thing that I would like to share. And apart from that, what else I did was, yes, for my mains, I would practice writing these answers in 7 minutes initially. So I thought I'm able to complete it in 7 minutes. Then afterwards, when I had to give my mains, prior to that, 1 or 2 months prior, when I sat to write down a full length paper, I realized I'm taking almost 4 hours. Because what is happening, I thought in my mind I'm taking 7 minutes, but when you are shifting from one question to another, you are thinking how to write and all, somehow the time is getting exceeded. So that was the point I realized that, okay, I've studied so much, but if I'm not able to reproduce it in my answer, it's of no use. So in my first, like the attempt 2021, which I gave, in that, before my mains exam for 1 month, every day morning I've given one test series, test paper, 3 hours every day. I'm not saying you need to do the same thing, but what I mean to say is you need to understand what point are you lagging at. Like, I realized that for me, my answers are not being completed in 3 hours, so I have to work on that. And when I'm saying I have to work on that, I have to work on it sincerely. So no matter how much of my syllabus was left, what I have to do, what I don't have to do, every day morning I would get up and I would give one paper every day. And by the end of almost 1 month, I saw that I am completing all my answers in 3 hours, and when I'm completing all answers, I'm doing justice to all answers. It should not be like you answer the first 10 questions very nicely and from number 11th onwards your answer size reduces. So the way my first answer is written is the exact same way my 20th answer is written. That was the kind of accuracy almost I had achieved by the end of 1 month. So by next attempt, because I've already practiced a lot, I did not need to practice to that extent. So this was for mains. And the other thing I felt a bit different I did was, in my answers of my this mains, I don't draw a lot of flow charts. I don't have arrows and all because I'm not good at it. So my answer is very simple. There are points if possible. If there are no points, sometimes it happens in exam, you're left with very less time, like 4 minutes or so. So in that, if I have to write an answer, I may not even be able to reproduce points. So I'll just write in paragraph form. So the point I want to make from here is that it's always the content that is important. It does not matter whether you write it in the form of a flow chart, you make a lot of arrows, you make a lot of figures. Your content should be of good quality. Like last year in GS1, not this year, I had scored 122 in GS1, which is amongst the highest. So in those 20 questions, there were just 2 questions which I felt required me to draw a map. One was asking about rubber plantation distribution, so I did draw a map. And the other question was about straits, something describe the straits. So in that, I wanted to show the different straits that are there in the world map. So I drew those 2 figures. Apart from that, there is no figure in my copy, nothing like no India map, no flow chart, nothing. It's point wise, like the question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I have points, I'll write the points. So the point is that if it is required, you may draw a map, you can make figures, but if it's not required, I don't think we should spend a lot of our energy focusing on how the answer should look like. The main important thing is if your content is good enough, you will be getting marks for it. So this is the different approach in mains and prelims. Apart from this, what else I did was in anthropology optional. I think more than GS, I think in your optional subject you need to focus a bit more on extra sources, because maybe I don't know where all you are taking coaching, or if you are not taking coaching, you are preparing yourself. in that I think your answer should reflect more better research and that there is more quality. So in that you may refer to more of reference books, etc. But for GS, I think the number of sources should be limited. The only fact is that you need to constantly revise it. So this is all I would like to share about mainly what I did in my prelims mains. So anything else? So right now I can't think. At the end I will mention if something more is there. Before that, if you all want to ask some questions, you may ask.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, firstly, plenty of congratulations.
Thank you.
Ma'am, being a girl, you secured All India rank 34. Ma'am, do you fear with regard to politicians, industrialists, or any other body or authority? Because I used to fear, because I belong to a rural area, and people there, people over there, they do not dream big. They are largely confined, they are largely conservative. So ma'am, it really, I become really fearful when it comes to service. So you have cleared examination, you are about to serve nation. So do you fear about it?
What I would like to say is that firstly you need to clear the exam, then think about these external factors. Something which is not under your control is not to be focused right now. First you secure a good rank and then think about it. And why am I also saying this is, this exam itself will shape up your personality. You may think it's a simple exam, but it's not so simple. Every year you need to be patient. You need to control your anxiousness in your prelims. You need to understand time management in your mains exam. And then of course you have interview in which you have a personality test. So when you're going through this process, and not just for 1 year, for maybe 2 years, 3 years, depending upon your preparation, you can yourself understand that there will be a significant change in your personality. So somehow this exam will prepare you for the job that is coming up ahead.
Yeah, ma'am, one more question from mains answer writing. Ma'am, I have seen the Hindu or standard books, they use different words for giving similar meaning. For example, indulge, include, incorporate in a paragraph to convey the same meaning. So ma'am, using such words or such different words for same meaning in answer writing, will it give value addition?
See, it's difficult to say because we don't get our answer sheets back. So focusing on one word, whether it gives or not, that's what I'm trying to say. Do not go into so much of nuances. Your focus should be that, okay, this is the question and am I answering to the demand of the question? That's it. If the question is asking you something about the new changes in the forest law, do you know what are the changes and why these changes are taking place? What are the shortcomings and what is the way forward? Your focus should be only on that much aspect and nothing more. What was your revision strategy? Astitva Tripathi is asking me. So the same thing I would like to say is that once I have my notes with me, I will only revise notes. Now I'll not suggest this to everyone, but even for the CBSE books that we have, standard books for geography, for polity, everything, I made its own notes, like people underline and they highlight. What I would do is whatever I felt important, I would write it down. Because what I feel is once I've written down something, that stays in my brain for more time. So now that I've written, I will be revising that to an extent that now somewhere down the line I have a kind of image in my mind that, okay, in my copy, in this page I've written this, in this page I've written this. So that's what I would suggest, like whatever notes you feel is important, keep revising it again and again. Congratulations, ma'am. What made you choose anthropology optional and what are the sources to it? So choosing optional is a very personal choice. For me, till class 12th, I had biology, so I felt like there were certain topics which I could relate to in anthropology. And the second thing is my engineering branch, electronics and communication, was not a part of the subject in the mains. And the other thing is I felt anthropology syllabus is very interesting. Like people say that they choose optional based upon which is scoring more or less, but I felt anthropology easy. For me, I felt like I could score better, and the other thing is there are so many different topics, right from physical anthropology to archaeological to tribal, that I thought I'll not get bored because I'll get to read different things and it will also help in my GS preparation. Ma'am, how did you manage your time between mains and optional study every day? How should we prioritize? Again, I would like to say all this depends solely upon your personal capability. That's why the first thing that I mentioned in the beginning is that as a student, you know what is your level of preparation. You may say to your friends anything, but you know, okay, I have studied this subject is lagging. So you start preparing for your mains, you give certain full length tests, and then you realize, okay, my mains preparation is going fine, so I should revise optional. But what I would like to say, you need to focus much more on optional, because in GS answers still you can manage 1 or 2 answers, but I feel your optional answers should be very direct to what has been asked. So give a considerable amount to the optional subject. What was your? That's what, like in the first year when I was doing coaching, we get very less time to study on our own. So my timing was, I think, 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and then 2 to 5, something of this sort. So the morning time, mostly I would be reading newspaper completely. I would finish newspaper, I would make my notes, everything is done. Even after that, sometimes I would be left with some amount of time, not a lot of time. So in that time, I would revise whatever coaching notes has been done, like covered yesterday, I would revise that and go. Sit in my institute, study nicely, notes and all, everything done, go back, rest a bit. And then in the first year, I would start reading CBSE standard books, because I had not read it prior to my coaching days. I had never read it apart from what we have read in our school days. So I would start any one subject at a time, like whichever subject I have started with. Let's say if I started with history, I'll be reading history. And I have thought over, like, okay, I should complete it in this 4 days or in 5 days. I would read that, I would make a bit of notes, and then before sleeping, if I was left with more, a bit of time, I would again revise some of my institute coaching material. And then on some odd days, I would take out time and see what has been asked in the previous year, and if I'm able to answer. If I'm not able to answer, I would again Google, like if I don't have information about it, and again jot it down in my notes.
The question was that what was the most challenging aspect for the exam for you, and how did you overcome that?
Challenging aspect which we all face in the first year, everyone is less confident, and we start to think what happens next if we do not clear, and then we all have our friends, someone is doing something, and then we tend to compare. So that is one thing that stays in the mind, but I don't know how to say it, but for me, whenever I get tensed, I again study. Like a lot of people will, go to a different, will do something different. I take a bit of rest for some time, and then what I do is I again go back to study, because what I feel is that if we tend to avoid studying, what happens is we'll start extending that time. Okay, if I don't feel like studying, I may take a break for 1 hour, which is well and good. You have refreshed yourself. But if you start overthinking that, okay, I'm not interested in studying, maybe that will get extended from 1 hour to 2 hours to 3 hours. So for some time, I'll refresh my mind. And even if I don't feel like studying at that point of time so much, I'll open up and I will start seeing a subject which is little lighter. If at that point of time, I feel like, okay, I should read a bit about science and technology, like what are the new things that are coming up, I'll read a bit about it. And that's how I would refresh my mind. So that is one thing. And the other challenging thing is when you're giving your exams again and again, like in my 2021 attempt, I did not clear. I went till the stage of interview, and I thought that I will score and I will have my rank somewhere down the line in that PDF, but it was not there. And then again, after I think a week or less, we have to again appear for prelims. So that 1 week is very crucial, because obviously it's like starting from the scratch again. So during that time, it is important to manage your emotions. And how do I motivate myself is, I've always thought, like I said to him, this exam is how it shapes your personality. Tomorrow, when you hold up an office with such immense responsibility, you become an officer, you may have to face numerous more challenges. At that time, you cannot make an excuse that, okay, today I did not want to work, I was feeling sick, so I did not go to the office. So if you will not do it then, why are you doing it now? Even if you don't want to study so much or you are not feeling well, still study. That is like a kind of preparing you for the upcoming job. So that's what I did. Anthropology, firstly I did, I was a student over here, so I did Hima Bindu ma'am notes. In the first year, because I had less time, I mostly went by notes. Then I felt like, okay, to improve my score, I need to read other books. So more than standard books, I followed IGNU notes. Like whichever topic I felt is lagging a bit, I would search, and I would search IGNU notes, and they have almost every chapter is covered in that. So I'd read from that, and it's explained in a very lucid manner, and it's very easy to understand. So mostly from there I would pick up. And apart from that, I have referred a bit to Peanuts, I think. That's the name of the book. I'm getting a little confused. So from there I would see whichever topic. It's not like I've read the entire book. Whichever topic I felt like is there in the syllabus and I don't have enough notes, I would search that topic in the book and from there I would read. And then we have Kaka committee report, etc. So that was for tribal anthropology. And apart from that, last year I have referred to various topper notes and their answer sheets, like whichever point I felt like, okay, they have explained this very nicely, so let me inculcate it in my answers. So that's what I've done. I hear someone was asking a question. For that I'll have to again give a more elaborate talk. So main thing is this only, like follow your notes. Then I personally have referred to IGNOU notes a lot. And if you see in the end of those notes, they also have their own questions. So sometimes I just read the question that, okay, if this question comes up, can I answer it? And yes, previous year questions. Whatever previous year questions are there in anthropology, you may write down its answers and like prepare its answers properly and keep it with you, so that next time when you have to revise, rather than revising the notes, you can revise the question answer itself. So that also helps. Interview experience, okay. So this time my interview was a little different than expected. So in my hobby, I had written mandala art. So after asking a bit about my place of stay and my name, etc. So the chairman sir, he said me, can you draw something? So I said okay, and then I started drawing, and then he started asking me questions. So because I was drawing and I was trying to answer, so my hand stopped. So sir said that no, like this is how your interview will be. And this is like your challenge. For the entire time of the interview, you'll have to draw and you'll have to answer. So during my entire interview of 25 minutes, I have drawn as well as I have answered. So I think that was also what has helped me, because I was able to do both the things, like drawing as well as answering. And the questions were on different topics, like right from my engineering background to my anthropology to my like current affairs. So questions were on diverse topics, but at the same time, I had to keep drawing the entire time. So this was something different and new. That's what I was saying. Books भी मैंने mostly CBSE की जो standard books है वही सब पढ़े हैं. इंस्टीट्यूट के नोट्स पढ़े हैं. उसके अलावा मैंने सिलेबस से टैली किया है हर टॉपिक को. ये वाला टॉपिक नोट्स में आया है, स्टैंडर्ड बुक में आया है. अगर आ गया है वेल एंड गुड, अगर नहीं आया है तो मैं उसको सिंपली गूगल में सर्च करती हूँ. फूड प्रोसेसिंग UPSC आई विल टाइप लॉट ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूट का कुछ लिंक आएगा. जो अच्छा लगा उस पर क्लिक किया, उससे पॉइंट्स उठाए, उसको कॉपी में इंक्लूड कर लिया. डिज़ास्टर मैनेजमेंट का कुछ नया इंसिडेंट क्लाउड बर्स्ट का हुआ है, सो मे बी इट्स नॉट कवर्ड इन माई नोट्स एंड इट्स नॉट कवर्ड इन दी अदर बुक्स. सो क्लाउड बर्स्ट UPSC, उसका क्या है, कोई कमिटी का कुछ रिपोर्ट आया है, नहीं आया है, वो सारा कुछ मैंने इंक्लूड कर लिया. तो मोस्टली मैंने ऐसे ही किया है. आई हैव नॉट रिफर्ड टू अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंट सोर्सेज. नहीं, यही जैसे मैंने ये टाइप किया ना, क्लाउड बर्स्ट UPSC, तो बहुत सारे साइट्स आएंगे, कुछ इंस्टीट्यूट के आएंगे, कुछ न्यूज़पेपर के आने लगते हैं. कभी कभी न्यूज़पेपर में बहुत अच्छा डिटेल एनालिसिस रिपोर्ट रहता है, तो मुझे लगा इस पर बहुत अच्छा कवरेज हुआ है, तो मैंने उसको क्लिक किया, फिर उसको पढ़ लिया. तो इस तरह से.
Ma'am, what was your prelims strategy? Like last year, the prelims pattern is changing. The questions are coming beyond the basic course which we are reading, and also your CSAT strategy.
So for prelims, what I did is from last year and so, because I have revised multiple times my static notes, because I am preparing from 2020, so I have a basic idea. So I did not have to revise it time and again, because I have it in my mind. So more than that, this year I had focused on previous year questions. So I agree that it's very dynamic and every year it's changing, but when you have practiced PYQ multiple times, you will get a hang of it. You will start understanding that, okay, and when you are analyzing your answers, that why did you pick this answer and not that answer. So your mind will be trained in a way that you will be able to understand the questions. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that you cannot change your method to a large extent. You'll have to stick to your static books, you'll have to stick to current affairs, and apart from that, just keep practicing. You can practice previous year as well as different coaching institutes, they come up with their own question answers. So just try to see how you are going ahead with it, how many mistakes you are making, and what is the reason why you are making these mistakes. Is it because you answered the question very quickly, or is it because you did not know? If you did not know, why did you not know this question? So just try doing this again and again.
Do you feel any problem in time management in solving the prelims?
No, that's what I'm trying to say. I've practiced it so many times that I will not have this issue of time management. So these are the things which you can easily control. See, the type of question that is going to come, you have no control over it. But if you are very sure about your time management, if you think your preparation is well enough, you'll be confident yourself. Most of the times why we get nervous or anxious is because deep down in our mind we have this feeling that, okay, I have not prepared economy, so if there are a lot of questions which come from economy, I'll not be able to answer. And then when you open your examination sheet and the first 10 questions if is of economy, then your paper is bound to not go so good. So that's why you should be very sure of your preparation. Once you are very sure, then your mind will be like, okay, whatsoever the question may come, I will be able to answer it. So when your mind starts speaking in this manner, you will be able to perform well. So that's why you need to be very sure about your own preparation. CSAT, what I did is, again, previous year questions I would practice the type of questions. If there are a lot of questions on time and distance, etc., I would practice that. And because I had an engineering background, we had this book which we would refer for certain interviews, S. Chand, R.S. Agarwal ka jo book hota hai, main quantitative aptitude. So I've just seen that from that all topics I have an idea like what type of questions come. I've practiced those questions even before and sometime before the exam. So because I know that so I've used that book only, like nothing more. That and previous year questions, and then for English I have not referred to any book. I would just practice from same previous year.
Ma'am.
Hmm. You mean to say you read it in the newspaper about a certain article on governor, and then it's taught to you in the class as well. So how do you combine both? You mean to?
How much should I put in my newspaper notes and how much should I skip?
There's no hard and fast to it. You should not go too much into the detailing. Like when you see the syllabus of the exam and you see previous year questions, you'll understand what type of questions are being asked. So what all would you need in the office of governor? What are the responsibilities in the constitution? What are the provisions? What are the issues currently? Why this article is there in the newspaper in first place? Because there might have been certain issue, something of that sort. So what is the topic about? So, and if there can be certain suggestions, there can be certain changes brought to it. In what aspect can the changes be brought? So suggestions. So that's all. You need to not go into too much detail. Like for a basic 15 marker answer or for writing 200 words, what do you need? You need a proper layout, like you need intro, you need some body, and then you need a way forward. So that thing should be there in your mind, and depending upon that only you'll prepare your notes.
How much of mention about current affairs is good enough?
There is not a, I would not use like a very hard and fast, like there should be this 50 words or 60 words. Mostly we try to use current affairs in examples. Like this is there, so and then, or if you may also start in the intro if you want that. Recently there was a Supreme Court judgment regarding the issue in the office of this. So this way you can start. Anywhere you feel like, mostly in examples or in way forward or in intro, anywhere you can use it so that your answer looks like it's not completely static.
No.
I started my preparation, like I said, 2019 August. Before that, I did want to appear in this exam. This has been in my mind since my school days. But because of I was doing BTech, then I did MTech. I've never studied any book from the prospect that this will help me in my examination. So the first time I was in the month of August, I bought all these books. I started before also I was reading newspaper, but that was just to understand for a general awareness. But it was only after August 2019 that I bought all the books and I started reading newspaper every day, all the articles, columns, etc. So that's how I went.
Ma'am, your communication skill is mesmerizing. And ma'am, the first question is, how did you improve your communication skill? And the second one is, there are some words which are pronunciated differently in American English and in British English, like quarantine or quarantine, either or either. So ma'am, if I am having a conversation with someone or particularly in interview, with both pronunciations, I mean, then will it make any kind of impact, or can I continue with this?
I don't think it's going to make any as such impact. The idea is that whatever you are speaking should reach to the person to whom you are talking. If your message is clear, I think it's well and good.
And please answer first part, ma'am.
How did I improve my communication skills? I have not focused so much as such on improving. I think it's more of a natural thing. But in case someone wants to improve, what I would suggest is read newspaper, talk to your friends, and slowly it will start improving. Okay. Someone was asked. Online. I'll just answer online. Ma'am, how did you manage to write answers within the word limit? Hi Hema, for answering within the word limit, I practiced a lot. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I have written multiple test papers. So in the beginning, you will not be able to manage your time. You will not be able to manage your word limit. Keep practicing, and then slowly you will see that you have been able to shorten your sentences while retaining the content. That's all. What can be the don'ts for the preparation? Don'ts, again, like I mentioned in the beginning, don't run after multiple sources. Especially in today's era of internet, we are flooded with information. There are different books. You start reading one book and then you feel, okay, I have another book. And then nowadays we have a lot of things like there's newspaper, then there's newspaper analysis. Then again, there is a shortened version of that newspaper. I believe in going with the basic, read newspaper, make your own notes. And I think that is fine. So that's all. Now, how to cover ancient and medieval India? There are many things I'm not able to recall clearly. So for ancient and medieval India, for ancient India, I refer to the institute notes properly, and along with institute notes, R.S. Sharma, Ancient India, and Art and Culture book, CBSE. That's all I have referred. I have revised it multiple times, and also sometimes what happens in this ancient R.S. Sharma, if there are certain topics which are mentioned which I think was not elaborated properly, I would go and I would search it again on the internet, especially the we have in the southern dynasties that we had of the Chola dynasty, the Sangam dynasty. Maybe it's not mentioned too much in detail if I felt like, but it's mentioned in the book. So I would go and again search it on the internet, same Sangam dynasty, UPSC. Then I would make notes. If there are certain questions which have been asked in previous year, I would again make its notes. For ancient India, what I did is it's a little difficult to approach these questions in exam. So from the previous year, if there is one question and there are 4 options given, and the correct option is A, why were the words B, C, and D mentioned? So I will go and read about B, C, and D also. I will search that keyword I'll type UPSC, why was it mentioned? I will get an idea, at least about 200 words about it, and then I will make its notes and I will read it. So for ancient India, that's all I've done. Medieval India, I have not referred to any book. There was this Institute Notes of Medieval India. Mostly I've read that, and CBSE 9, 10th, 11th, 12th, and nothing more, because medieval very less questions come up. And others, apart from that, same thing. Like if I miss something, I'll check last year, previous year question, okay, if there was any mention of it. I've not referred any other book. That's all. Okay, last I'll answer about essay. So essay, the strategy was normal. I started writing normally essays, and then I started getting it corrected from some of the faculty members. What was I missing? So first thing was that the essay should look coherent. It should not be very random. So a person who is reading it should feel that there's a proper structure to it. So introduction, then in the body, covering it from various dimensions. Like you are covering the social angle, you are covering the political angle, you are covering the recent changes, the technology, etc. Everything. So I had seen in some video, or I had read somewhere, like if you're not able to understand what points you have to consider, try thinking it from the perspective of the syllabus. In the syllabus we have history, okay, so there should be certain historical angles. So in the syllabus next we have a bit of social angle, then geography. So geography, then we come to GS2, something about polity. Then international affairs relations, if there's something. Then GS3, disaster management, if you can include certain points. So all these things should be included. It's not hard and fast that each and every point should be included, but it should look like your answer is not going in one particular direction. It's covering various, like you have a broad idea about different things that's happening. So you can cover that. And then conclusion. And to make it a bit interesting, I would try to include some quote, and more than quote, I would try to start it with a story, but not exactly a story, like something that has already happened, like The Mountain Man about Dashrath Majhi. It's about persistence. Some essays there where we have to talk about persistence. So I'll give an introduction that there was this mountain, and Dashrath Majhi, with a single chisel, he went ahead and he started he tried to break the mountain continuously for 24 years, so and so. So I'll give a nice introduction to it, and then I'll start with this. So mostly I would do that, but apart from that, you can also go ahead with certain quotes or certain newspaper report, so that it becomes a bit more interesting. So that's all I would like to say, and at the end, I would like to say, try enjoying this process. Try to, when you are reading, don't take it as a burden. Try learning, okay, you are learning something new, and include other people as well. Like you can discuss with your friends. Like I would do this in anthropology. There are a lot of new things that we get to know about tribal practices. So I would discuss with my friends that, do you know, I learned this thing, something new. I would also discuss with my parents. So that way you will feel more lively and more interested in this process. That's all I would like to say. Thank you.